Okay, let's dive right into this. When we hear about ancient lists of borders and cities, we kind of brace ourselves for something dry, right? But what we're actually looking at today in the text of Joshua 15 is this epic, dramatic real estate deed. It's the story of an ancient people finally claiming their promised homeland after generations of wandering. And trust me, it is absolutely packed with action, strategy, and history.
So I have to ask you, what does an epic ancient property deed even look like? Well, spoiler alert, it's definitely not just a stack of boring paperwork. We are talking about sweeping national borders, giant-slaying heroes, and high-stakes real estate negotiations. This isn't just lines on a map. It's a living, breathing record of conquest that literally shaped an entire civilization.
And this brilliantly illustrates the sheer scale we're dealing with. The text kicks off by mapping out these massive borders granted to the tribe of Judah. It spans from the rugged border of Edom down south, stretching to the Salt Sea in the east, the Great Sea out west, and pushing right past the future site of Jerusalem up north. It really establishes the staggering scale of the territory they were claiming as their own. But if we zoom in within those sweeping borders, we find some unbelievable human drama. Take Caleb claiming his inheritance in Hebron. He didn't just politely walk in and grab the keys. No, he literally had to drive out giants to take this land. The text specifically calls out the three infamous sons of Anak, Sheshai, Ahiman, and Talmai. Caleb had to physically force these massive, legendary figures out just to secure his family's inheritance.
From there, Caleb sets up an intense, strategic challenge for the next city on the list, Kirjath Sefer. Taking this fortified city wasn't going to be easy, so Caleb offers up a wild military bounty. Whoever captures the city gets his daughter, Oxa, as a wife. The stakes are incredibly high. But his brother Othniel steps right up, takes the city, and actually wins the bounty.
Now, what's really interesting here is how Oxa herself demonstrates some brilliant real estate savvy. Riding in on her donkey, she goes right up to her father and says, "Give me a blessing, for thou hast given me a southland, give me also springs of water." She hit the nail on the head. She completely understands that a dusty southern plot is practically useless without the water you need to actually sustain crops and livestock.
And her negotiation tactic works perfectly. Oxa asks for the springs, and Caleb doesn't just toss her one little water source. No, he grants her both the upper springs and the nether springs. It's this comprehensive, permanent water access deal recorded right in the middle of a conquest narrative, ensuring her land would thrive for generations. Let's zoom back out and see how this all builds. 112. That is the massive number of specific cities, plus all their surrounding villages, that are painstakingly tallied in the rest of this document. Just think about that for a second. It's a staggering figure that gives you a real sense of just how completely they were taking over this vast region. To make sense of it all, the text methodically groups these territories by region. You've got 29 cities in the dry south, clusters in the valley, dozens fortifying the mountains, and 6 way out in the harsh wilderness. It powerfully demonstrates the meticulous administrative organization of this civilization. They weren't just running in and conquering. They were organizing, cataloging, and literally building a nation piece by piece.
So, the crucial point is, after cataloging all this total regional dominance, we're talking vast territories claimed, giants defeated, and over 100 cities organized, there is a sudden, surprising twist. Right at the very end of this otherwise victorious document, the narrative takes a sharp turn.
On one side of the ledger, you have these sweeping, monumental victories for Judah. But then, verse 63 reveals a pretty gritty reality. They could not drive the Jebusites out of Jerusalem. The text explicitly states that the Jebusites dwell with the children of Judah in Jerusalem unto this day. It's a stubborn compromise in an otherwise total victory, a stark reminder that even the absolute most powerful campaigns have their limits. Which leaves us with a final, really fascinating thought to ponder. What actually happens when a campaign of total conquest meets an immovable compromise? It is an incredible look at the limits of power and how this single holdout in Jerusalem ripples through history, shaping conflicts for centuries to come. Thanks for joining me for this explainer today, and keep looking for those hidden stories behind the history you read.